Hello students, in this video we're going to go over some topics from chapter 5 that you needed help with. So we're going to try to cover some topics from section 5.2, where you're going to be asked to solve application problems about the normal distribution and find probabilities for a normally distributed random variable, and you can use the normal distribution calculator stuff. And if you have time, we'll do some examples from section 5.3. And it's the same topic, but in section 5.3, you're going to be asked to find unknown values for a normally distributed random variable. And once again, you can use the normal distribution calculator stack. Okay, so let's go and look at the study guide that covers chapter 5, which is study guide 2. And once again, the study guide is divided into sections. So study guide 2 covers chapters 3 through 5. Okay, so we're going to scroll down until we find the questions from section 5.2. Okay, so questions 49 through 58 cover topics from section 5.2. Okay, we're going to specifically look at questions 51, 52, and 53. Problem 51 says, an airline knows from experience that the distribution of the number of suitcases that get lost each week on a certain route is approximately normal, with a mean of 15.5 and then a standard deviation of 3.6. So once again, this is the symbol for the mean, and then this is the symbol for the standard deviation. And the question is, what is the probability that during a given week the airline will lose less than 20 suitcases? I guess that's the important part there, right? The less than 20 suitcases. Okay, and the other part that's important is that in the problem it says that the number of suitcases that it loses each week on this route is approximately normal. So that's what you're looking for, right? The words are either approximately normal or normally distributed, okay, which means you're going to use the normal distribution calculator to answer that question. And that's what questions 51, 52, 53 are about, right? They have the words approximately normal in them, so that you know you're using the normal distribution calculator statement to get the probability. Okay, so we're finding the probability that during a given week, the airline will lose less than 20 suitcases. So it says less than, but it really means, in this case, it really means less than or equal to. Okay, so we're going to take that to mean less than or equal to. So when we do this in StatCrunch, we're going to go to Stat, Calculators, Normal. Okay, and type in the mean of 15.5, okay, standard deviation of 3.6. Okay, and so notice that there's no option for less than, so we're going to select less than or equal to. And then type in the number that it gives you, so less than 20. Okay, and our probability, when rounded to 4 decimal places, is 0.8943 or 0.8944. Let's go and check that with the answer key. Okay, so this is the answer key, and that was number 51. Okay, so it's about 0.8944, which is what we got. Okay, let's look at the next question. Let's look at number 52. So it's the same type of problem. Okay, this airline knows from experience that the distribution of the number of suitcases that get lost each week on a certain route is approximately normal. Okay, with the mean of 15.5, standard deviation of 3.6. So what is the probability that during a given week the airline will lose more than 20 suitcases? Okay, so again, look at the keyword. It shouldn't be confusing, right? It should be pretty straightforward here. But we're going to take this to mean greater than or equal to rather than more than. Okay, so again, going to StatCrunch, right? You type in the mean, standard deviation. You select the appropriate symbol, so there's no greater than symbol, so we're going to select greater than or equal to. Okay, and then round your answer to 4 decimal places. So to 4 decimal places, that probability is 0.1056, and that's the red portion of the curve that's shaded. Okay, the area to the right of 20, okay, underneath the curve, okay, is that number there, 0.1056. So for 52, that's the answer we see in the study guide. Okay, so let's go and do another one. So number 53, it's the same problem. Okay, so I won't read this part since it's the same as the other two. Okay, same mean, same standard deviation. Okay, the question is, what is the probability that during a given week the airline will lose between 10 and 22 cases? Okay, so we have to find the probability for a normal random variable that's between two values. Right, you select the between option, okay, type in the mean standard deviation, and you type in the lower number in the left box, and then the higher number in the right box. Click compute. Okay, so the 4 decimal places, that probability is 0.8310 or 0.8311. Okay, so the answer to that, so that was number 53. So the answer is 0.8314. So it's possible that when they got this answer in the study guide for that question, number 53, it's possible that they used the standard normal table rather than the calculated StatCrunch. So keep in mind that if there's a little bit of discrepancy between what you're getting in StatCrunch and what the answer key the study guide, right, keep in mind that the study guide may be using or basing their answers off of the table. Okay, so we're not going to use the table. You can use the table certainly if you know how to use it, but I recommend sticking to using StatCrunch. Okay, but our answers are approximately the same, so 0.8310, so we know we're on the right track. Okay, if you need additional practice, I recommend that we look at the other questions from section 5.2 in the study guide. Okay, for normally distributed random variables. Okay, so questions like 49, 50, and then 54 through 57. But more likely than not, the kind of questions you're going to see on the final exam from this section are like 51, 52, and 53. Okay, let's go to move on to the questions from section 5.3. Okay, there's questions 59 through 64. So we'll probably do 2 of these questions, and then you can do the rest on your own. Okay, this little note here is worth mentioning. So it says if you use the normal distribution calculator StatCrunch to answer these questions, the answer you get may be different than the answers that are in the answer key. So just keep that in mind. So let's look at number 59. That says, assume that the salaries of elementary school teachers in the United States are normally distributed. Okay, so that right there tells you you're going to use a normal distribution calculator to StatCrunch to answer the question. So with a mean of 33,000 and a standard deviation of 3,000. And the question is, what is the cutoff salary for teachers in the top 10%? Okay, so notice that this is a different type of question than what we were doing earlier in the previous section. So in the previous section, you're asked to find probabilities with a normal random variable. Okay, but in the next section, in this section, section 5.3, it's asking you to find a value, an unknown value for a normal random variable. Okay, so you know that these salaries are normally distributed. Okay, the mean is 33,000, the standard deviation is 3,000. So let's see what we can do with that, along with what the question is asking. Okay, so going to StatCrunch. Here we're going to select standard. Okay, we're going to type in the mean of 33,000, so you can double check that. So 33,000, standard deviation is 3,000. Okay, so it's not asking us for a probability, it's asking us what is the cutoff salary for teachers in the top 10%. Okay, so the words top 10%, okay, represents an area inside the curve. Okay, so right now there's no graph here, but picture a bell-shaped curve. Okay, so top means to the right. Okay, top means area to the right. Okay, and the area to the right of this unknown value is 10%. Okay, so when you see the word top 10% or top 20% or whatever the case is, or top 80%, right, you're going to select the greater than or equal to symbol. Okay, so instead of typing in a number here, let's go ahead and erase that number, whatever it is. Okay, and what we're going to put in here is 10% as a decimal. Okay, so again, convert 10% to a decimal. So let's go and do that on the calculator. So it's 0.1 or 0.10. Okay. So what we're doing is we're setting up the calculator to give us that unknown value. Okay. For a normally distributed random variable. Okay, with a mean of 32,000, standard deviation of 3,000. Okay, by selecting the greater than or equal to symbol, right, that tells the calculator that the area to the right of this unknown value is 0.10. Make sure you use the decimal point. Okay, and then the unknown value will appear here. Okay, and you can see the diagram, right? So top 10% is this area shaded in red. Okay, so the salary of a teacher, the minimum salary of a teacher in the top 10% would be $36,844. Okay, and you would round your answer accordingly. It doesn't say how you're supposed to round it, but let's go ahead and check our answer key, see what it says for that particular question. That's number 59. Okay, they show a little bit of work. They use the formula, right? Because we're using the calculator, we're not going to refer to any formulas. Okay, but thinking about 36,840, okay, which is approximately what our answer is, right? So let's go to check that. So 36,844. So our answer is going to be a little more precise. Okay, but in any case, you're still going to use the calculator rather than the table and the normal table or the formula. Okay, so our answer is not that far off. Okay, let's go and take a look at the next problem. Okay, number 60 says, assume that the salaries of elementary school teachers in the United States are normally distributed with a mean of 39,000 and the standard deviation of 3,000. The question is, what is the cutoff salary for teachers in the bottom 10%? So notice how now the question says bottom 10%. Okay, so it means that the area inside the normal curve to the left of that unknown value is 10% or 0.10. Okay, so we know that 10% is equal to this number here, 0.1 or 0.10. Okay. Okay, so bottom means the area to the left of that value inside the normal curve. Okay, is 0. And this is mean and standard deviation. Standard deviation is still the same, 3,000. Because it asks for the bottom 10%. Right, bottom means to the left, so we're going to select the less than or equal symbol. Okay, and we're going to get rid of any number we have here and delete it. And delete any number here. And we're going to type in the area to the left, right, whether it's 10%, 15%, 80%, or whatever, right? And make sure it's a decimal. You can always put a decimal here, not a percentage. Okay, compute. Okay, so it's about 35,155. Thank you. Okay, so they do round it a little bit. So number 60, right? They got 35,160. Okay, so our answer is not far off, right? So this is the more precise answer. For the study guide, remember they're using a formula and the standard normal table to get the answer. But again, always use the normal calculator stuff. Okay, let's see if we can squeeze in maybe one more example. Okay, so number 61 says, assume that the heights of men are normally distributed with a mean of 70.7 inches and a standard deviation of 1.1 inches. If the top 5%, bottom 5% are excluded for an experiment, what are the cutoff heights to be eligible for the experiment? Okay, this is round your answers to one decimal place. Okay, so since we're excluding the top 5% and the bottom 5%, that means we have an area in the middle. Okay, so we're excluding the top 5%. And then the bottom 5%. Right, so the area in the middle is 90%, or 0.90. Rewrite that as a decimal. Okay, so stack cruncher, you're going to select the between option, type in mean standard deviation. So the area in the middle is 90%. Click compute. So these would be your cutoff values. It should be close to what you see in the answer key. Thank you for watching.